Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. KageKaze here, and we're playing Hawken. Yes, Hawken, that Hawken, the big, mech game, shoot people up and kill them. Yes, that Hawken. One I haven't played in a little while, so I'm going to be rusty and terrible, but that's okay. This is Hawken Ascension, the first major content drop, or at least major overhaul of the game that they've provided. I can't exactly say it's a major content drop, as it really doesn't come with any new mechs. It comes with 2 new maps, though. That's kind of cool. So that is nice, considering I was kind of getting tired of the old maps over and over again. I love the game, but man, I gotta tell you, after you play the same maps over and over again, you kind of want a little more. So yeah, this is a huge update. It is so different that when I logged in for the first time, there was so much going on, so many tutorial tooltips that were new. I just spent a good amount of time just reading all these tooltips, and I still got lost. I almost kind of wish I could start it over again, because then I might have learned the systems one at a time. But let's go over what's different, what's good, what's bad. There's some really nice concept changes here. Keep in mind, we're still in beta. They're not even at version 1, but this is like version 0.94, I think. So they're getting close. This is kind of looks like their vision of what they're going to want it to be. They just want to polish it up a bit. The most disappointing thing about this patch, I think, has been a bit of the balance. They rebalanced everything. So the game feels completely different, and it's kind of hard to tell what's good and what's bad. Because everything I'm used to, all my preconceptions, are kind of out the window at this point. But there are some things that have so far already proven to be fairly overpowering, and we'll talk about that as we get into the game. First thing I want to talk about that I did not like about Hawken Ascension when I started it up is that I was forced into a tutorial mode. I had to go through this holographic training thing. I didn't get to go into the options. Like over here you can see I have settings. I couldn't do that. It made me only click training. I had to go into that. I couldn't see a way to skip it, to tell it no, I don't want to do that. I might have missed it, but it just said, you know what, let's just go in and get it over with. Thankfully, once I got into the game, I could change some of the settings. But yeah, that was kind of jarring there. It's like, well, I didn't even get a chance to set my keybinds or anything. After that, I came back in, and you can see the interface is quite different. It looks a lot sleeker now. I kind of like that. Some of the same options are still here. You do have your pilot options here. Now they have added pilot levels now, so that's new. A lot of things are done through unlocks now. So I've got my profile, I've got mech profiles. You can see that you can go through each mech and look at everything that you've done with those. They've the achievements are still here. This was in a patch that I played not too long ago. We have the pilot levels actually have unlocks attached to them. So you can see you get tuning points, which is a replacement for the old skill trees that they had. And something really nice about this is you can unlock mechs through just playing the game now. So before, you'd play the game, and you would get the Hawken credits, and those you would spend towards getting new mechs, or getting items, or basically getting everything in the game. So what they decided here is you can still buy mechs with the Hawken points, but as you play and level, they're going to just start giving you some mechs. You can buy them early, or you can just wait to unlock them. So you can see here at level 3 you get the Rocketeer, at level 5 you get a Sharpshooter. You even get some neat unlocks, like some thrusters here. A different color thruster was unlocked to me, a new camo was unlocked here, a new drone, or repair drone was unlocked here at 10. And all of this, thankfully, was progress that I had made from playing the game before. Now, unfortunately, I didn't quite get to the final level, so I'm missing a drone and missing a looks like a pattern here, but that's not too bad. It'll probably take me a while to get to that end if I keep playing. So we'll see how it keeps my interest. I think I might be waiting for another tuning patch, but we'll see. So I like that. You can unlock every mech in the game through this. Now, if you've played Hawken previously and you haven't played this new Ascension thing, you're going to have to go and play a match. Doesn't matter if you win, doesn't matter if you lose, but you're not going to have all your unlocks until you play a match. And then all of a sudden you're going to get spammed with achievements, and everything that's supposed to unlock will unlock. So unfortunately, switching over to this new system, it doesn't unlock everything right away from the beginning. Play a match and you're fine. So that's the good news. They've added some mech charts here. This is kind of the progression that you can go through. You unlock mechs not only through pilot levels, but I believe it looks like you unlock some of them through playing various mechs. So you can see here the recruit will lead on to the vanguard, onto the assault, and so on and so forth. I can't really get a good feeling for this because I played so much that I unlocked everything. I hadn't bought everything, but when I went into Ascension and played my first match, all the mechs were just given to me, just because I had already put that much time and effort into the game. Alright, so other things that kind of remain the same, well, experience boosts, they're kind of the same. You've got some Hawken credit boosts as well, and of course the standard meteor credits. Let's see if anything's changed. Well, again, the menu just looks a lot better. It's nice to see. Things that are kind of easier to read and understand, I really think, at this point. It's really nice to see the game looking like a real game now. I mean, it's not that it didn't look, you know, like a real, I guess not a real game, but it's looking more polished, and that's really nice to see, because it really gives you that feeling of this is a game that you want to play. Lots of settings still here. Credits. Huge credits, by the way, because everybody that participated down here, everybody that participated in the Vanguard Initiative has their names in the credits. My name is in there somewhere. It's not in alphabetical order. I have no idea where it is, so not too worried about that. But speaking of the Hawken Initiative, there's kind of something that annoyed me a little bit, and it annoyed me as a matter of principle. When I paid into this game, like I gave them. This is why I have Hawken, or Meteor points, by the way, is I kind of pre-purchased the game. I said, you know what, I love this concept, I want to buy into this. And so I purchased one of their legendary packs. And that allowed me to get this, let's see if I can't find him here. Yeah, this guy right here, the Vanguard Cupcake. I've got him decked out in his wonderful blue Hawken camo skin that you only got that for basically buying into the game early. Yeah, so the game was still in early beta alpha, and I put money into it. And so I got some skins, I got some wonderful unlocks, including these thrusters. But this mech was exclusive to the highest tier that you could pay into. It wasn't that expensive, really, so it's not like it's a huge deal. But it was assumed that this guy was going to be exclusive to the people that paid into it and bought that tier. Well, come Hawken Ascension, go back, this guy happens. The Vanguard. Now yes, it's a different skin, but it's essentially the same mech. So I'm not entirely sure what to think about that. I mean, to be honest with you, as a mech, the Vanguard and Vanguard Cupcake really aren't all that impressive. They've got a submachine gun, they've got a grenade launcher, fine. But, yeah, see, we got, let me see, submachine gun, a mini flak, point D Vulcan, and a grenade launcher. We go over here to Vanguard Cupcake. Same thing. So it's essentially the same mech, just without the name Cupcake. So there's a slight difference, and I did get a few exclusive items, such as the thrusters, which no one else can actually get unless they paid into that. So that's kind of cool. But again, when they say something's going to be exclusive to you, it kind of cheapens that a little bit. Now, we are talking about a first-person shooter, so having loadouts locked to certain people, you could make the argument that that's not a great way to do it, that you should eventually unlock it. And the game has been out for quite a while now. So at this point, maybe it is a good idea for them to unlock it, but it still kind of just, for some reason, just feels odd to me. And I think it's because there really was no indicator that they were ever going to do this. Maybe if they had mentioned it at some point. Again, to me, whatever. I didn't really care for the mech, so other people can play this guy and enjoy him if they so desire. He's got some good, he's got some bad, but he's definitely not my favorite. Alright, we'll move on from that. As you can see, the garage, I've got so many mechs now. I have unlocked all of them. I've got duplicate mechs now, too, because mechs that I did purchase, I eventually unlocked again. So you can see back here, I've got all these level 1 mechs that I obtained from playing the game and getting all the achievements. So let's kind of go into this. This is my new CRT recruit. I've got him decked out in his new body set here. I'll kind of show you that. So here's the overview. There's a lot of changes to the mech garage now. It used to be that you got 3 items, an offense, a defense, and a utility. Now they give you these item slots. You have 6 slots to fill out. So let's kind of go over this. one at a time before we go on that. So the next step is the mech rank. This is where you can see your progression, and at the end you get some final unlocks. In this case I got a camo and also unlocked the shield for all of my mechs. So normally you have to buy items when you get a mech. Some mechs I believe are gifted an item, but when you get high end, when you get to the final level of a mech, you can actually unlock that item for all the mechs. So even though you can purchase the items, and that's kind of what they want you to do, they have put in a system that makes it so that, you know what, if you don't want to purchase them, you can just eventually unlock them. Again, it's something that's going to take time. As you level, here are the things that you get. So you start with the mech. You can unlock different weapons as you progress. Here, the pointy Vulcan is unlocked. It's the prestige. That is a prestige weapon, by the way. That used to be unlocked at final mech level. It looks like it's unlocked at tier 3 of the mech. So it's kind of nice to see that you unlock your weapons a lot sooner. But you also get these upgrades to your special ability for your mech. So those used to be given to you as you level. Now you actually have to buy them. You don't see it here. Let me show you in maybe the Raider. Yeah, see, if I get this, I can upgrade the Blitz ability, but it's going to cost me. If I unlock the weapon, it's going to cost me. Everything's going to cost you in some way or another. But in leveling this guy, you also get these elite legs. So I got elite legs, arms, the midsection. That's why my mech looks the way he does, is I've gotten this elite skin. So it's a really cool way to show off that you've been playing that mech for a while, and as you can see, this is what he looks like at final tier. It's all well and good, but I am slightly disappointed that when you use an elite skin like this, that you can't put a camo on it. I've tried. Camos don't show up. So if you pick your elite skin, you are stuck with the way this looks. You can't modify it. So you can choose to use the elite, or you can choose to use something else. So as you can see, once I got to the end, it also unlocked the Vanguard. So not only is the Vanguard given to people from the initiative, but the Vanguard is also probably one of the first mechs anyone will unlock, well, aside from the standard levels, because it's at the very end of the CRT recruit, which is your first mech. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Okay, so weapons. Much like before, I kind of like the way it changes over there. You can actually see the kind of the grid as it changes the weapon. That's pretty cool. You get a good description of the weaponry. The oddity is you don't see the stats, but you can click here and get a nice comparison between them. So that's kind of nice that you've got those two menus. And they don't give you raw stats anymore, which is kind of sad. But they do at least give you these kind of bar graphs to say, hey, this is roughly what you're looking at. I suppose this is a better comparison tool to actually see a bar. But sometimes it's nice to see the raw values to know exactly what you're getting into. Now, another thing that has changed that they finally initiated is that you can change weapons in a match. So it used to be I had to pick it here in my garage, and then I was stuck with that in a match. Now in the match you can actually pick your new weapons. I'll show you that a bit later. Tuning is the replacement for the skill trees. So you used to have 3 skills. You had offense, defense, and movement. You had points you can spend in. The changes between them were minimal, really. So they were kind of a neat way to customize your mech, but they were just small little tweaks here and there. When you're talking about a skill-based first-person shooter, that's probably a good thing. Now you have these where you have a whole bunch of points you can spend, and you can put them in several different categories, and these categories will change ever so slightly based on what mech you're in. So in this case, my CRT recruit has a weapons loader, which increases the firing rate. I like that because I do like using the Vulcan. You can decrease the heat generation, increase the armor. You've got boosters, generators for fuel regen. I can increase my radar, and I can increase the overheat recovery time, which is great. And you can even take a look at some raw stats over here with everything you've picked. Now, what's interesting about this, if I go to a mech that's not fully leveled up, you can see that there is a cap to where I can put my points. So for the weapons loader, I can only go to, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 10. So I have to unlock a couple different ranks before I can put more points in that and fully specialize. That's kind of interesting. Now you can kind of see here's some of the differences. Weapon loaders, heatsink, and armor between these two are the same. However, this one, the Reaper, is given a fuel tank instead, which is the capacity for the fuel, and hydraulics, which increases walk speed, run speed, acceleration, and all that. Whereas this gets thrusters and a generator. That's pretty cool that each mech kind of has its own specialization and where it's going now, rather than generic skill trees. Because before, with the skill trees, every mech was the same. All the skill trees were the same. It was just where you put the points. So that's kind of cool. So onto the items. I mentioned this 6-slot tier system. This is how it works. You have these standard items here, and again, you have to purchase them even in different tiers. And what you may or may not see is as I scroll through this is a real system hit. I'm going down to about 5 frames per second as I scroll through it. So I don't know what's going on here in this menu to make it non-optimal, but it definitely hits the system hard when you're going and moving this bar. That's okay because it straightens itself out once you stop scrolling. But each weapon, standard weapon, typically comes with 2 slots. So you've got 6 slots. You can have 3 items at a time, basically. Just like before, except for now they're not categorized. So if you wanted to have 3 what used to be offensive weapons, you can. If I want to get the detonator, the HE grenade, and a turret, I can do that. I just have to pick the first tier, which is these 2 slaughters. You can see here as you go on, you can get a tier 2, which costs 3 slots. If I use up 3 slots and I only have 3 slots available, that means I can only use 2 items at that point. At that point, I can get another level 3. Or there is one level 1 item, which is kind of nice. This is the only one available. Hopefully they'll add a couple more later. But this reduces the cooldown on items. So I could give myself this item generator, make it take 1 slot, and what you can do is you can click and drag, just like that. That's the HE charge. So if I take the item generator, I haven't bought it, so I can't move it, unfortunately. But you can take that 1 slaughter, put it here. You can get a 3 slaughter and then a 2 slaughter. You can basically treat them as hard points. Pick what you want and just outfit your mech in the order that you want. With each of these tiers, they're the exact same item, but they get some additional perks. So, for example, the HE charge might get a additional radius and more damage. The turrets might last longer. The barricade will get more health. Things like that. Now, unfortunately, as you can see here, you really can't see what those changes are. You're just kind of expected to know that the more you get, the higher the ranking is, the more damage or more effective that item is going to be. Internals have been given a massive overhaul. As you can see, it's the exact same 6-slot system. In fact, I've even put 6 items on this mech just to kind of make him more versatile. I mean, that's what you're picking, basically. Versatility versus specialization. And some of these internals are really cool now. It used to be an internal would give you a trade-off. You would gain some kind of advantage, such as attack speed or attack damage, but you would then get a negative. So you might do more damage, but then you also might take more damage. Or you might do more damage, or you might move slower. They were kind of weird and wonky. They didn't feel good, so I never used them. And this is much better. Like, look at some of these I have. Basic deflectors, 10% less damage while boosting. And there's different tiers of that, by the way. So I can get, let's look at that basic deflectors here. Deflector, a level 4 deflector. Let's see if I can't find it. Maybe not. There's a regular deflector, that's 20%. Well, allow your mech to dodge in midair. Air compressor takes 3 of the 6 slots. That is just some of the stuff you can see that you can get from this. Replenisher, get a kill to reduce the ability cooldown by 6 seconds, and assists will reduce it by 3. Let's see if there's that dodge one. 40% more repair from armor orbs. Yeah, there's all sorts of really cool stuff. Even these level 1s are kind of nice. So basic failsafe, 30% damage reduction from self-damage. There's an upgraded version of that, I know. 100% damage reduction from fall. There is no upgraded version of this. There doesn't need to be. That is just a really cool level 1 ability to have. I can now drop from a great distance and not have to slow myself down and worry about thrusters. I will take no damage when I hit the ground. I've got faster armor and energy recovery. I can convert some of my damage taken into fuel. And this one increases my run and walk speed every time I get a kill or an assist. That's just really cool stuff. These internals are really awesome, honestly. It's just so many of them, as you can see. So there's a lot of purchasing you're going to be doing. I mean, I can look at this. These are like 1,200 Hawken credits. I've only got like 21,000. I say only, but when you think about it, with all these mechs, I'm not going to be able to kit out every single one of my mechs because of how expensive some of these are going to be. It would be kind of nice if I bought one tier, it bought all of them. So if I bought the deflector, it would also buy the advanced deflector and the basic deflector or something like that. Also keep in mind that when you buy an internal, it is for that mech only. So you will have to buy these internals for every single mech you own. So, you know, it's a free-to-play game. They have to do it somehow. As you can see, the meteor point requirement is much lower, just like before. So they're not trying to go out and gouge you, but they are definitely focusing on microtransactions this time. So now that you can unlock your mechs for free, and you can even get some items for free. So if I go back to example the items here, you see that HE charge because I got the full level on the recruit, going back to the mech rank here. Actually, I don't think it was the HE charge, it was the shield. Yeah, the shield shield Mark 1. So I go into items, I've got the shield Mark 1. It should be available on all of my mechs. If I go to this Rocketeer, shield Mark 1 is available. HE Charge Mark 1 is available as well, because I believe that's the weapon that this guy starts with. But because of the recruit, he can get the shield. So that's pretty cool. It's nice to see that. Internals are awesome. Style menu is not too much different from what it was before. It's a little easier, I think, to navigate and to understand. Except for this, the paint patterns doesn't tell you anything about what these two sliders do. And again, as I mentioned, I can pick whatever pattern. It doesn't matter. This pattern isn't going to show up on this mech because I'm using the elite headpieces and stuff. You get a nice looking menu here to see what all of the different types of options are. So I can go here to the Fred, and you can actually see the camo on it now, since I'm not using the elite. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the elite chassis. I kind of like him. Repair drones, lots of cool repair drones, a bunch of different ones added. I like the fact that they do unlock some new repair drones as you level. So as you can see, this one's got kind of a blue, and then I believe this one's kind of a purple. Yep. So they're just different colors, but you can purchase. This is what I liked about one of their last patches. They added some of these before this Ascension patch. I thought they were just really cool, like this Quattro repair unit here that just kind of circles around. I mean, this is the cool cosmetic stuff that you can buy for this game and make yourself uniquely you. And the fact that you can unlock new thrusters as well. Very cool. I'm going to stick to my exclusive Pyro Burns, though. Mech emotes are still in the game. I don't think they've added any new ones. Well, maybe they have. There's 3 here. Start with 1. It's pretty standard there. So not much different here. But as you can see, the interface is a little bit cleaner. It's honestly, I'm going to admit, as a first person coming in and not knowing what the heck was going on, I got a little lost in these menus. I spent probably an hour just navigating the game before ever playing it, just because I had no idea where anything was. It was pretty ridiculous. So let's kind of go ahead and real quick show the marketplace. They've kind of given you a popular new tab here. You've got, it looks like it cycles through too, so they're going to try and show you some of the really cool, neat features there. Sales. I can go to specific areas. Go to mechs. They categorize them now, so if you go to mechs, you can choose one of the categories, and then of course you can scroll through, see what they do, what their abilities are. This looks a lot better, I think, than what they had before. It makes it kind of easy to see what the mechs do and what they're supposed to do, what kind of roles they fill. You can click on the top, of course, to pick your boosts, or you can just go over here to boosts. Consumables is over here as well, such as countermeasures and emotes. So definitely a lot more polish there. Already shown a little bit of the career track. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So what I'm going to do is they've added some really nice features as far as playing the game. You can now join matches as a party. There is a matchmaking system in play that if you can play with up to 3 friends. So the party size is limited to 3 because the maps are 5-on-5. So I guess they feel it wouldn't be fair to have a full-on 5-man team go into a pub and stomp it. But you can go up with 3 people. If you have a party, the server browser goes away. So you can go to the server browser just like any other game, any other first-person shooter game, and pick your own server if you want. That's no problem. This, you will just be basically picking a server, random skill level, doesn't matter. But if you go to play and you go to quick match, this is supposed to match you with people of skill. Whether or not it's working, I'm not sure. And it could be giving me a skill rating that I'm just not comfortable with because I haven't played in so long. I don't really know for sure. But let's go ahead and we're going to pick a match, and so you can kind of see some of the changes that have happened to the mech itself. Some of the the UI elements, basically. So we're going to go pick, let's do my favorite game mode. We're going to do Siege. Alright, we are in a match. We are in the map Frontline, which is not a new map to this patch. I believe the only new map for Siege is Last Eco, which, it's a green map. It definitely feels different. Not currently one of my favorites, but hey, here we go. You can choose your mech. You can see at the top you have a glance at basically the stats of the server, which is kind of nice. You can do the show scoreboard. I can see that my team has what mechs my team has. I can see one guy is down. That is probably me. I can see what the enemy team has, the score overall, name of the server, name of the map. Choose my mech. I can even go so far as to change my weapons. I can go over here and finally change my weapon, as I mentioned before. Cannot change my items or internals, so they still restrict that. So you can't change any of these still, but you can at least change the main weapon, which is nice. Cannot change your points either. That's something that you have to go into your garage to do. Now, I am going to play my recruit. It is my highest level mech. It cannot gain any more experience anymore. And that leads me into something that I didn't talk about earlier, and that is overflow experiences in the game. Now, if you've ever played a game like World of Tanks, then you kind of know how this works. Your mech hits maximum level, but he can still gain experience from playing. That experience has to be converted to a universal experience. So the experience is still on this mech. In order to take it off, I have to spend money to put it into a global experience pool, basically. Now the good news is I have a ton of global experience pool experience right now because of all the overflow experience I had before this patch. So what they did is if you played the game before and you already had overflow experience, the game was tracking it. And what they did is instead of saying, okay, you've got all this overflow experience, now you got to pay us, they said, okay, cool, here's all your overflow experience, we're going to give you that free. It is now all universal experience, so you can spend it on your mechs if you so desire. Any mechs from that, or any experience you get beyond that, though, you're going to have to pay for. And I believe you can use Hawken credits, you don't have to do all meteor points, I believe. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and launch here and go into the map, and we can kind of take a look at some of the differences of the HUD. And you can first of all see that it's a bit cleaner, which is kind of nice. The energy units in the lower right hand corner is always visible now. They've taken some of the elements of the HUD off of the 3D cockpit, so you'll notice like my life bar and my fuel gauge are off the cockpit. They are in a floating first person HUD now. My items are in the lower right. I can use my mouse wheel to go between them, or I can use a shortcut key of buttons 1 and 2, possibly 3 if I had a third. The lower left shows my mech's active ability that is unique to the mech. Above my life bar, which you can see is basically all my internals. It'll show you everything that I have active, and since I got an assist there, you'll notice one of them just lit up. That is my movement speed for getting a kill. So we're going to go ahead and use that to my advantage to get behind this mech where his armor is weakest and take him out. You see when I go to collect energy, you'll see another one lights up since I do have enhanced energy drain. So a lot of information is conveyed to you now over the UI, which is kind of cool. Again, a lot of it's kind of cleaner. Some of it maybe have been minimized too much, but you know, I think it's clean. I think I like it. Knowing what they all are, though. I mean, if I were new to this and I hadn't played the game before, I might not really know what any of this stuff is. Thankfully, that's what the tutorials are for, to kind of give you an idea of what those mean. Let's go ahead and take this guy out. Okay, he's gone now. Whoa! Yeah, I'm low on life. So you can see the heat gauge is right in the center of the HUD. It's the 2 bars around my crosshair. The crosshair is dynamic. If you've got modes for your mech, you notice how it's kind of a horizontal triangle there. If I have a gun that switches modes, it will turn to vertical, so I know if I'm in one mode or the other. You'll also notice that as I sprint, it expands, so you know I can't fire. All the standard stuff applies. I can repair. Oh, check that out. Abilities on your mechs. Some mechs, when they use their abilities, will glow in some way to show that their ability has been popped. So there is more feedback, not only to you, but to the enemy, or I guess that is to you if your enemy is doing it. But there's a lot of feedback for things happening in the game. So I just used my cooldown ability. So they probably saw something happen around me to know that I have reduced my cooldown, something like that. So you can see he's got some this feature on him that shows that he's done something to himself. So that's pretty cool. Let's go in. I like the fact that some of the elements are a little easier to see, like the AA is a little easier to see, the energy units are a little easier to see, I think. I still kind of wish that the energy units would show up on the map, like on the 3D HUD, when they are not available. But at least they show up on the minimap in the lower left. Speaking of which, the lower left minimap looks a lot better to me. It could just be my bad memory, but I can see all of my allies, what their mechs are, at a glance. So if I knew what they were, like him, he's a technician, I believe. You can tell just by the icon by him. Of course, I can tell by the silhouette a bit as well. The game is looking really good. Honestly, a lot of polish has been put into it. What I want to do is I'm going to use my special ability, and I want to take a look. Okay, in the lower left-hand corner, there is now a timer, an actual timer to tell you when you can use that ability again. So this ability has a 30-second cooldown. That's kind of nice, because before, it just showed kind of a timing, a ticking timer. And you couldn't really get any idea of what that was all about. I'm going to go ahead and put one of my turrets down. That is a full tier 3 turret, so it is quite lethal, quite nice. Sell some abilities. And one of the changes to the shield that they've made is you can now shoot out of your shield. It used to be the shield absorbed both incoming and outgoing damage. Now you can put it down and shoot outside of it. Not entirely sure what I think about that. Like I said, the game has been entirely rebalanced. So there are so many changes that I have to get used to, and the shield is just one of them. I'm just not sure how I feel about that, because being able to shoot outside of it without taking any damage inside, there's not much you can do about that other than charge into the shield yourself. Okay, so there is something you can do, but you know, at a long range, it's definitely a solid defense. Now, something that I have seen personally that is a balance concern is the heavy mechs. The heavy mechs have been given a boost in the arm. Now, don't get me wrong. They kind of needed it. Heavies previously were pretty bad. Think I'm gonna die. Think I'm gonna die. Yeah, I'm gonna die. Put down the shield. Put down the shield. Whew. Okay. So heavies needed a shot in the arm, right? So what they've done is they've made it so that the armor in front is stronger, the armor inside is about the same, but you take more damage at the rear now when you're transformed as a heavy. They've also made it so you can boost while you're in the transformation state. Now, these are all pretty good changes. But then I started to notice that one of the Heavies' primary weaknesses before was that light mechs could kind of run around them. And that was kind of the balance, right? You were a stationary unit, but anything that was quick, you'd have a hard time with, so you were pretty much a artillery unit in a way. Well, now Heavies appear to be able to turn very quickly. I've yet to be able to really get behind a Heavy that wanted to follow me while he's in a transformed state. Meaning, I couldn't really hit him from the flanks or the back. In a one-on-one fight, this can make it very difficult. Not impossible. Not impossible. But difficult. You have to be very careful when you're fighting a Heavy in that kind of scenario. Obviously, you want to try and use teamwork if you can in order to get past that. Now, the concern part is that there's a Heavy that has a special ability where when they're transformed, they regenerate health. And the problem seems to be that the regeneration is a little too high right now. In a few matches, I was going toe-to-toe with a Heavy at wrong range. And I would get a tow rocket into one of them, which is one of the highest damaging, abilities you've got in this game, one of the highest damaging weapons. And by the time I was able to poke out and shoot at him again, a lot of the damage had been repaired. If not all of it. I mean, it was pretty bad. I was going and I was trying to pick at these heavies from long range. Basically, the entire enemy team was this regenerative heavy. Oh wow, 3 of my things were active there. The entire team was these heavies, and we just couldn't kill them. They were basically always moving together, and any damage you did to them would just get regenerated by their abilities. So I think that's something they're going to have to look at. I think that maybe that regen is too strong. I certainly feel that the regen is a cool mechanic, so that if you use it to kind of poke in and out of combat, you can get some health back. But I don't think it should regenerate the damage of, you know, a full weapon hit at the cycle. So like basically my tow rocket can only fire so fast, right? If it regenerates the damage from that tow rocket every time I fire it, that's pretty bad, especially at long range when it's kind of hard to pick at enemies and hit with them with more than one damage source. When the entire enemy team was doing this, it pretty much made them nigh on impossible to kill, because they would just cover each other and soak up the damage from each other. And then of course they added a technician which can repair other mechs into the mix, and yeah, it became very frustrating very quickly. No matter what I did, I couldn't, and because I couldn't get behind them anymore, it made it a very difficult fight. It was pretty much a lopsided fight. Uh-oh. Been killed a few times by this guy, apparently. I'll have to work on taking him out. So, again, concerns about balance. But there are so many really good things that they're doing, and the whole idea of the unlock system and all that, it really is looking good. It really is, and I'm happy to see them get the content out there for this game, even though maps have been kind of slow. Again, that's been my major complaint about this game, about Hawken, is just maps in general have felt like they're just not coming out fast enough, you know? Let's see if I can't work on this guy. Out of the air. Very nice. So I want to see the balance issues taken care of, just so that the game can be, you know, be as fun as it can be. And of course, new maps. It just really needs new maps. The Lost Eco map that they came out with, again, it's unique to Hawken because it's kind of a green map. It's not industrial at all. But I can't say I got a really good feel for it. Part of that, of course, being that I haven't really played the map enough to get a feel for the layout. It was a map with a lot of kind of nooks and crannies and elevations, so it could be kind of a sniper's wet dream in some of those areas. I was sitting on top of rock formations and kind of waiting for people to pass by and shooting them with my sniper, which is kind of nice. Whew, I am still rusty. I'll shake it off eventually. It looks like we're going to win this match. Nice to see. Go out on a good match in a video. It's always nice. Oh man. Actually, it's a bit lopsided, to be honest. We are pretty much storming them right now. I think the biggest thing that impresses me so far is what they've done with items and internals. The whole slot system where you've got 6 slots to fill out and you can choose to put in more weapons or more powerful weapons is an awesome idea. The fact that they've done that with the internals as well, the internals no longer suck. I mean, they really did suck before, in my personal opinion. I thought they sucked. And now they have these really cool things like being able to just do this. I can go up in the air and not have to worry about any kind of falling damage because of that one internal I have. I can kit my mech out, not just in the points they give you, right? Because those points, you know, they're nice, but you can see that they don't add up to a lot unless you specialize, of course. But it's the internals that really make it work. So if you put the points in one specialization and then further go into that with your internals, you can make your mech be a force to be reckoned with however you want to play the game. So a lot of gameplay options there, and so, you know, my hat's off. The game is proving to be excellent, very, very excellent. So there you go. That's Hawken, Hawken Ascension. If you haven't played it before, it's at playhawken.com. Free to play. Don't have to pay anything. You start off with one mech, the CRT Recruit, which is the one you're seeing me using. And yeah, you can just unlock everything by just purely playing. You do not have to... You really don't have to pay a dime into this. I got all these hot meteor points from paying into the game early by becoming a founder, basically. And I haven't really spent many of them. I think I've spent maybe a handful of them just to... maybe when a video needed to come out for a particular mech type. That's really all I've done. I haven't really used them. Everything I got, I basically got from in-game Hawken points. So you don't need to buy anything at all. And that's one of the best things to this game's credit. And there's tons of customization options in this game, which is where I think they're going to make a lot of their money. The customization is really going to be the big thing. Just being able to choose how you want your mech to look. As long as they keep on this path, I think they'll do fine. But again, it's the content right now. It is the gameplay is there. The balance needs to be tweaked up a bit. The content needs to be improved. But I really hope they do well. I mean, I wouldn't have put into it if I didn't think that they didn't have the chops for it. Of course, not all my investments have proven to be great. I won't go into that though. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, Hawken, hopefully you've enjoyed it. Give it a shot. If you've stepped away for a bit and you haven't played, come on back. You know, take a look, see what you think. I'm KageKaze, and I'll see you next time.